We hear so much about AI these days, shaping the future.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's everywhere.
But have you ever stopped and really thought about what that future might actually look like for a country as complex and as important on the global stage as India?
Yeah, it's a huge question, isn't it?
Well, today we're going deep on this idea, and we're going to be diving into a report that really tries to paint a picture of India in the age of artificial general intelligence.
Sounds fascinating.
It is, and a lot of our listeners have been asking for a clearer vision of what's on the horizon, and luckily this report is absolutely packed with insights.
Awesome.
It really is, and we've got a lot to cover. We've got a really great executive summary that kind of lays out the big picture and some really detailed analysis to dig into.
Cool.
Yeah, so our mission today is to really pull out those key takeaways, those golden nuggets of understanding. We want to understand what AGI, artificial general intelligence, actually is, how it could drive India's goals of not just economic progress, but also things like AI autonomy and inclusive growth, things that are really unique to India's strategic vision. Where India stands right now in this global race to develop AGI, what are its strengths, what are its weaknesses, and then ultimately, long-term, what are the prospects of India becoming a true leader in this field?
Yeah, that's a lot. And, all of that, considering these broader societal factors, it's not just about the technology.
Exactly. So let's start with the basics. We hear AGI. It's kind of a buzzword these days.
It is, yeah.
But the report does a really good job of explaining what it actually is. And, it's not just like using your face to unlock your phone or even those really cool self-driving cars we're starting to see on the roads.
Right. Those are different.
Those are examples of ANI, artificial narrow intelligence, and that's kind of like AI. It's really, really good at one specific thing.
Exactly. Very specific, very narrow. AI excels within those very tightly defined boundaries.
Yeah, and it can actually outperform humans in some of those very specific tasks, like recognizing images or playing really complex games like chess.
Right. But AGI, that's what we're talking about today. And AGI is aiming for something much bigger.
Much bigger.
It's about achieving intelligence on a human level, an AI that could potentially perform any intellectual task that a human being can.
Wow.
And that's the key difference. It's not just about being super good at one thing. It's about being able to learn, to adapt to new information, new situations that it wasn't specifically programmed for.
So that's kind of what sets it apart from the AI that we interact with on a daily basis.
Exactly.
And the report highlights a few key characteristics that really define AGI.
Yeah.
And one that really jumped out at me was this idea of generalization.
Oh, that's crucial. Yeah.
AGI wouldn't just be able to, let's say, recognize images of a particular type of flower.
Yeah.
It could take that knowledge of visual patterns and apply it to something completely different, like analyzing medical scans.
Right.
Or interpreting satellite imagery.
Exactly. And it wouldn't need to be specifically trained for those tasks.
Wow. So it's about transferring those skills and knowledge across all these different domains.
Yeah. That ability to generalize is, like you said, it's a game changer.
And then there's this idea of common sense knowledge, which sounds, kind of basic.
Yeah.
But it's actually really hard to program into a machine.
It is, because it's something that we humans just sort of have. It's like this intuitive understanding of how the world works. Social norms, cause and effect, right? Like, if I drop this pen, it's going to fall.
Exactly.
It's simple for us, but for AI.
But AI has to learn that.
It has to be explicitly taught that. AGI would need this kind of deep, intuitive grasp to really reason and make decisions like a human does.
So AGI needs to understand those underlying principles.
Yeah.
So it can apply them in all these different situations.
In countless, new situations that it hasn't seen before.
And then finally, AGI would have this incredible ability to just constantly learn.
Yeah, lifelong learning.
To reason through complex problems, to adapt to new circumstances.
Right? Just like we do. And it's that flexibility, that adaptability that really sets AGI apart.
Okay, so we're starting to get a sense of what AGI is, what it aims to be.
Yeah.
But the report quickly shifts to this really interesting question. Why India?
Yeah.
Why is India's potential in this AGI landscape so important, such as a specific focus of this report?
Well, I think if you look at the broader global landscape of AI, India has a very distinct approach.
Okay.
While, of course, economic progress, national security, those are important to every country.
Sure.
India's strategic objectives really emphasize AI autonomy. They want to build their own independent AI capabilities, not be reliant on other countries. And they're also very focused on this idea of inclusive growth. growth, making sure that the benefits of AI reach everyone in society.
So it's not just about, economic dominance.
Exactly. It's about using AI for overall national development and making sure that everyone benefits.
And the report makes a pretty compelling case for AGI being a catalyst to achieve those goals.
Mhm.
So let's start with this idea of AI autonomy. How could AGI help India become more self-reliant in this kind of critical technology sector?
Well, because AGI has this ability to learn and solve problems on its own across lots of different fields, it means that India could potentially develop AI solutions that are really tailored to its specific needs, its own cultural context, its own unique challenges.
Okay.
Instead of having to rely on technologies that are developed elsewhere, off-the-shelf solutions.
Right.
They could create their own AGI systems that can adapt and evolve as their needs change without needing constant input from outside.
So it's about building that internal capacity.
Exactly. It's about fostering that homegrown innovation engine, if you will.
That makes a lot of sense. Now let's talk about inclusive growth, which is so central to India's vision. How does AGI fit into that?
Well, what's really exciting is the potential for AGI to revolutionize sectors that impact the lives of, hundreds of millions of people,
Okay.
like healthcare. Imagine AGI being able to analyze your individual genetic makeup, your lifestyle factors, and deliver truly personalized medicine. It could even look at the unique genetic profiles that are common in India and maybe lead to breakthroughs in treating diseases like diabetes or tuberculosis.
So even going beyond what we think of as personalized medicine today.
Yeah, exactly. And think about things like remote diagnostics, telemedicine, extending healthcare to rural communities that might not have easy access to doctors.
Right.
Or even speeding up the discovery of new drugs and treatments, especially for diseases that are prevalent in India.
That could be absolutely transformative. And what about education, another area where India has huge ambitions?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, AGI could personalize the learning experience for every student,
Wow.
figure out their strength, where they're struggling, and tailor the content and pace of learning to their needs.
So really targeting where they need help.
Exactly. And that could help bridge learning gaps, improve skills for everyone, and really democratize access to quality education, no matter where you live or what your background is.
So location doesn't matter anymore. And of course, we can't forget agriculture, which is still such a vital part of the Indian economy. It supports so many people's livelihoods.
Absolutely. Imagine AGI analyzing tons of data to enable precision farming,
Okay.
optimizing things like irrigation, fertilizer use, pest control, maximizing crop yields while minimizing waste.
So more efficient and more sustainable.
Exactly. And it could even provide real-time detection of crop diseases or pest infestations.
That would be so valuable.
It would be huge, especially for small farmers. It could help them make better decisions and contribute to more sustainable farming practices.
So we're seeing this potential for AGI to really address some of India's biggest developmental challenges.
Really powerful stuff.
It is. Now, the report goes even broader and looks at how AGI could transform India's landscape as a whole beyond these kind of core sectors.
Right. It looks at the bigger picture.
So what are some of the things it highlights?
Well, think about public services and governance, where AGI could really streamline all those complicated bureaucratic processes, make essential services more efficient and easier to access, especially in those remote areas we were talking about.
That would be huge.
It could also help improve accountability in government, allocate resources more effectively based on real-time data, and even help with disaster management, like predicting and responding to natural disasters.
So it's about improving the daily lives of citizens in really concrete ways.
Absolutely. The report also circles back to agriculture, which we talked about, and delves even deeper into the potential applications of AGI in that area.
Okay, like what?
Well, AGI can process all that complex data from satellites, sensors, weather stations to really optimize those agricultural yields.
Right.
And that real-time disease and pest detection is crucial for a country with such a large population, ensuring food security.
Makes sense.
And AGI could even automate some of those really labor-intensive tasks, freeing up human capital for other things.
Right, and in the long run, it's about moving towards a more data-driven and sustainable agricultural system. And in healthcare, going beyond just that personalized medicine, what other possibilities does AGI open up?
Well, think about all the medical data that's out there, genomic information, medical images, scientific research. AGI can sift through all of that, find patterns, generate insights that could lead to much earlier and more accurate diagnoses of diseases.
So we're talking about predicting health risks even before they show up.
Yeah, exactly. And it can help personalize treatments in ways that we can't even imagine right now.
Wow.
And again, that AGI-powered telemedicine, remote monitoring, that can really help bridge that gap between urban and rural healthcare.
Really bringing healthcare to everyone.
Exactly.
And bringing it back to education, it seems like AGI could really revolutionize the whole learning journey for students.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine educational content and learning pathways that adjust in real time to how a student learns best, their pace, their needs.
So it's truly personalized.
It's about recognizing exactly where a student is struggling and giving them the specific support they need. And it can even help teachers with all those administrative tasks, giving them more time to actually interact with their students and design better lessons.
So it's a win-win for both students and teachers.
Exactly. It's about creating a truly high-quality education system that works for everyone.
Okay, so India has these ambitious goals, and AGI has this amazing potential. But of course, India is not alone in exploring this. What's the global landscape look like? Who are the main players in this AGI race?
Well, right now, the United States is really leading the pack. They have a really strong AI ecosystem. They're producing a lot of high-quality research, developing cutting-edge models, and there's a ton of private investment and M&A activity happening in the AI space.
So they're really pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, they're definitely ahead of the curve.
And who would you say is their closest competitor?
I think it's got to be China. They're a major force in AI, leading in things like patent filings, and they're publishing a huge volume of research.
So they're investing heavily.
Oh, yeah. Both the U.S. and China are pouring money into AI research and development. It's a clear strategic priority for both of them. But the report does point out that the impact of China's research might be a bit lower compared to the U.S., and there's perhaps less private sector involvement.
Okay, so they're both major players, but with different strengths.
Exactly.
What about the rest of the world? Are there any other notable countries in this AGI pursuit?
Definitely. The UK is doing some really interesting work, especially in AI safety research. Canada is known for its theoretical contributions to AI and machine learning. France is emerging as a player with some promising companies and a growing focus on AI safety as well.
So it's a global effort.
It really is. South Korea with its advanced tech infrastructure, and Japan with its strong research institutions and tech companies, they're all in the mix. It's clear that AI is seen as strategically important all over the world.
And the report touches on these different theoretical approaches to actually achieving AGI. It sounds like there's no one agreed upon path.
Yeah, it's a really diverse field.
What are some of the main approaches being explored?
Well, you've got the symbolic approach, which is all about building AGI through these systems of logic and rules. Then there's the connectionist or emergentist approach, which is kind of inspired by the human brain.
Yeah.
It uses neural networks and deep learning to let AI learn from huge amounts of data, like how a child learns from seeing lots of examples.
Interesting. Any others?
Yeah, some researchers are looking at universalist approaches, trying to find these calculation-level solutions to intelligence. Others think that true AGI needs a physical body to really learn and interact with the world.
So like a robot.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have hybrid approaches that try to combine the best of all these different methods.
So it's a very dynamic and evolving field.
It really is. There's so much exploration going on.
And the report mentions this convergence of generative AI and agentic AI. What's the significance of that?
That's a really interesting development. You know, generative AI, which is all about creating new content like text, images, even code, it's becoming super sophisticated.
Like those AI image generators that are everywhere now.
Exactly. And then you have agentic AI, which is focused on building autonomous systems that can set goals and act independently to achieve them.
Okay.
So the idea is that if you combine these two, you might be able to create AGI systems that are not only creative and can understand and generate complex information, but also have that autonomy and goal-directedness that we associate with human intelligence.
So it's like taking the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
So with all this happening globally, where does India fit in right now? What are its strengths in this pursuit of AGI?
Well, the report highlights several key advantages that India has. For one, it's currently ranked 4th globally in overall AI development.
Wow, that's pretty high up there.
Yeah, it's a strong foundation to build on. And it has the 2nd largest AI workforce in the world.
Wow.
Plus, you know, these thriving tech hubs all over the country.
Yeah, we hear about Bangalore, Hyderabad.
Exactly. Those are major centers for tech innovation. And that large youthful population, that's a huge asset.
So lots of potential talent.
Tons of potential. And the government is also really proactive. They've launched initiatives like the India AI mission with a lot of funding. And the AI for All strategy shows a real commitment to advancing AI in India. And on top of that, you have this rapidly growing startup ecosystem with hundreds of AI companies popping up. And India's focus on using AI for social good and inclusive growth, that could give them a real edge.
So a lot of pieces are in place.
Yeah, there's a lot of positive momentum.
But what about the weaknesses, the challenges that India needs to overcome to really become a leader in AGI?
Well, one of the biggest ones is the need for better advanced AI compute infrastructure.
Right.
While those recent government initiatives are great, having access to those cutting-edge computing resources, that's absolutely essential for researchers and startups who are working on these complex AGI models. And then there's data privacy and security.
Right. Always a concern with AI.
Absolutely. And making sure that algorithms are fair and unbiased, that's another major challenge.
Especially in a country as diverse as India.
Exactly. The report also points out that India needs to invest more in AI research and development. And even though they have a large AI workforce, there's still a gap in attracting and keeping those top-tier AI researchers, the ones who can really push the boundaries of AGI.
It's about nurturing that talent.
Yeah, and creating the right environment for it to flourish.
Okay, so India has this potential, but there are some hurdles to overcome. Now, the report shifts gears a bit and talks about this bigger question of what makes a best country. And it stresses that it's not just about technology or economics.
Right, it's a much broader idea.
So what are some of the other factors that the report considers?
Well, it looks at things like quality of life, things like cost of living, access to healthcare, how long it takes to get around, people's purchasing power. It also considers economic stability, like GDP growth, employment rates, things like that. And then there's social progress, which includes basic needs, overall well-being, access to opportunities, equality, safety, education. And increasingly, environmental sustainability is becoming a crucial factor.
So it's a much more holistic view.
Exactly. It's not just about how much money a country has or how advanced its technology is.
And the report points out that there are all these different global indices that try to rank countries based on these factors.
Yeah.
And they often come up with different rankings.
Exactly, because they all use different methodologies and prioritize different things. Like you have the best countries ranking, the good country index, the quality of life index, the social progress index, the environmental performance index. They all look at things differently.
So there's no one-size-fits-all answer to what makes a country the best.
Exactly. It really depends on what you value most.
Bringing it back to India, how does this potential leadership in AGI connect with its broader development goals and aspirations to be a leading nation on the world stage?
Well, the report argues that AGI has the potential to really transform those key sectors we talked about: healthcare, agriculture, education, and drive economic growth. And all of that can contribute to a better quality of life for people in India, improve food security, create a more skilled workforce, and raise living standards.
So AGI is seen as a tool to achieve those larger goals.
Exactly. But the report is also very clear that it's not just about AGI alone. India's long-term success depends on a whole bunch of things, like continuing economic reforms, addressing income inequality, investing in infrastructure, not just digital infrastructure, but also things like transportation and energy. Political stability and good governance are crucial. So is promoting social inclusion and making sure everyone has equal opportunities. And of course, improving environmental sustainability is becoming more and more important.
So it's really a multi-pronged approach.
Absolutely. It's about strategically using AGI as part of a larger effort to create a better future for everyone in India.
And finally, the report includes insights from experts in the field. What's the general feeling among them? What's their outlook on India's potential in AGI?
Well, overall, they seem pretty optimistic. They see India as having a real chance to become a global AI powerhouse. They point to the talent pool, the growing digital ecosystem, and the government support as key factors. They also predict that India's AI market is going to grow a lot in the coming years.
So they see a lot of potential for growth.
Yeah, they definitely do. And they recognize the potential for AGI to really help India tackle some of its biggest social challenges.
But I'm sure they also acknowledge the challenges, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They highlight the need for better computing infrastructure, the importance of closing that talent gap in AI research, and they stress the need to think carefully about the societal implications of AI as it becomes more widespread. There's a consistent call for more investment in education, research and development, and infrastructure.
So a recognition of both the opportunities and the challenges.
Exactly. It's a balanced perspective.
And how does this all connect to India's vision of becoming a developed nation by 2047, that Viksit Bharat vision?
The experts believe that AI, and specifically AGI, can play a big role in making that vision a reality.
So it's seen as a key enabler.
Yeah, but they emphasize that it has to go hand in hand with those broader socioeconomic reforms and a continued focus on inclusive and sustainable development. It's about making sure that technological progress benefits everyone and doesn't leave anyone behind.
So it's not just about the technology, it's about how it's used.
Exactly. It's about using it responsibly and ethically to create a better future for all Indians.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive. We've learned so much about AGI, India's potential in this field, the global landscape, and the broader implications for India's future.
Yeah, it's been a great discussion.
It really has. To sum it all up, AGI could be a game changer for India, helping it achieve greater technological independence and drive inclusive growth across many different sectors. But it's not a guaranteed path to success. India has some real strengths, but also some weaknesses to address. And ultimately, becoming a leader in the age of AGI is about more than just the technology itself. It requires a holistic approach that combines technological advancement with social progress and a commitment to sustainability.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
And since India has such a strong emphasis on AI for all, it makes you wonder what will be the most unexpected societal shift caused by widespread AGI adoption in a country as diverse and complex as India. Think about all the potential ethical and societal implications and how India's approach might be different from other leading nations. It's a really fascinating question to ponder.
It definitely is. It's something we'll all be watching closely in the years to come.
Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into India's future in the age of AGI. We encourage everyone to keep exploring this complex and rapidly evolving world of AI and its impact on our shared future. This is just the beginning of the conversation.
Absolutely. The future is full of possibilities.